One. All right. So, welcome back, everyone, to our seventh edition of the Main City Radio Podcast. I'm joined today with my host, DJ Oracle. And today we're going to be going over the World Series 2, the Great War competition. We're just going to do an overview of our thoughts, our placements, hopes, expectations, and how well we performed. Then we want to talk a little bit about the factions, recruiting and selection, as well as the community efforts that we've seen ongoing within X, the vlogs, as well as the discords. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the Lion token and do a little bit of an overview on the project roadmap that the Crypto.com Loaded Lions team has released. And then we will do a little bit of speculation at the end here as to what we think is going to go on in Season 3 Fractured Fates. So thank you very much for joining me here, DJ Oracle. You want to give a quick little shout out, and then we will get right into the thick of it and discuss our performance within the Great War.
Yes. Thank you, RWINK, as always, for you know, um, putting everything together. And welcome everybody once again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends if you think you get something out of this podcast. Thank you guys for the support that keeps us going to keep doing this, knowing that it's not falling on deaf ears. We're getting a lot of great feedback from the community. So again, if you like what we do, thanks for the support, and go ahead and like, subscribe, and share with everybody. Thank you, Arwin.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And definitely if you have things that you want us to cover on these podcasts or even just speculate, discuss anything, right? Please do leave it down in the comments below, or reach out to DJ Oracle or myself on either X or Discord. You can also find us in both the Discords for Legion and Void. So, there's opportunity to give us some feedback there as well, or even just ask us questions if you need some help within the game. But
Yeah.
so the Great War just ended. Congratulations on the victory, Void. That was a bit of a shocker, I think, for a lot of people within the community, especially when you saw the lead that the Legion had. So yeah, big congratulations on the underdog comeback.
Yeah, thank you. That was quite unexpected. And it was last minute, which made it more exciting and thrill and movie like. The underdogs. And I'm kind of also glad that it did come out this way. So that it doesn't always just seem like a one-sided game. It shows that there is a good fight between the community, a good healthy fight between the community, and more than anything, competition, not fight, but a competition. I mean, there is the Great War. It was the Great War, and it was a lot of attacks and everything. So yeah, that was quite surprising.
Yeah, no, definitely was a heck of a turn of events, that's for sure. So, and I guess I'm disappointed Legion didn't win, but hey, I'm also excited now that Void did take it. It'll be cool to see how the whole development going into season 3, and what narrative now gets driven since Void did come from the future, and yeah, you kick some Legion butt. So that's quite.
Was able to put up a bit of a fight, right? At least, and you're right because it'll help, I guess, to shape the story if they had some sort of thing going. It's gonna make great for the story. Yeah, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. So, for myself, maybe we'll just hop right into our experiences in the Great War. We did talk a little bit after the first week, right? So that was the last podcast, talking a little bit about how the first week was going for us, and now the competition's finalized. And we've secured our leaderboard position. I think it'd be good just maybe for us to go over some of the mistakes that we made early, lessons learned that we would like to maybe apply to future competitions, and then yeah, just sort of go over how the experience for each of our gameplay came out.
Yeah, congratulations on your placement as well. I ended up on 102, so I was a bit short of the 100, the top 100s. And speaking of the mistakes, um, how we were talking about. it really came down to underestimating um my diamond generation. Actually, overestimating my diamond generation. And I would say that to say that I think it had a lot to do with my style of play during normal mode.
Yep.
And then being able to like right like place different businesses in different places and even merging and all that, because I did some merging, which I do believe it did help me, because instead of like moving up another business to increase my income, I can increase the quality of those businesses. I try to do on comments, unless I get like from the blueprints, let's say like two comments with 2 stars, then I would probably merge them to do like a like a three quality three. But
Okay.
yeah, I try not to merge because of the percentage that it gives you compared to other comments and other rarities, I would say.
Yeah, most definitely.
So, uh-huh.
I know exactly what you're saying though, right? You almost overestimated the efficiencies of your lands, right? Like I even found that like when I was running my numbers, trying to figure out where I would land based on my diamond gen, and I did come under the prestige that I thought that I would get to, but and that was even with just purchasing a business, right? So my natural diamond gen is usually what I rely on, and I think I hit fairly well. I had to make some well, I guess not really last minute decisions, but part way through the competition, I sort of seen the slippage in my rank, and that's where I had to make that decision to either purchase a business to grow into that would help me, or I really needed to look at a slightly different strategy. And for myself, I ended up going with the business purchase, which ended up paying itself off. And I think I should have ran the numbers specifically, but I think I ended up getting an extra 100 crow out of what I ended up paying for that business. So it paid itself off, plus got me into a better leaderboard rank for that extra little bit. So I was happy with that. But I think on the topic of merging, right? So I did not personally merge any commons. For me, a common uh, to put its rare or its quality up, right? The cost that it would cost to do the diamond merge from going from either even quality one to quality two. I just looked at it as that merge is a prestige that I could just use on the business instead of merging it, right? Because to me, the commons don't produce gold, right? They do a little bit, but they give you at best 5 to 10% of your city's gold, right? So they're not the ones that you prioritize. I did do some merging though. I did merge and had a quality three Felice, which I ended up selling partway through. I also did merge and ended up making the mistake of trying to merge to get to a quality four Pride Records. That was a big mistake that I found. That ended up wasting about 18 million diamonds that I really could have used at that time. So I sort of started to kick myself after the fact of being like, I should have just kept that 18 million diamonds and just kept running with the quality three, because that quality four merge failing really really hurt my city, and it didn't even the quality four Pride Records I don't think would have been that significant of a difference in gold generation. So it ended up being in retrospect a little bit of a waste of diamonds, especially because my lead business was a Museo de Leon, so running with the museum at a quality three, which I merged up to as well, was my primary gold generator.
Yeah, I like what you said about comments, and I think it's yeah pretty important too, because yeah, you're right. A lot of times, unless it's like the beginning, right, like the first few days, if that's all you kind of get, like you gotta start. Maybe the first few hours, not necessarily the first few days. Maybe the first few hours, you have to kind of like go with what you're getting. Good things that we get more blueprints now.
Yeah,
But yeah, you're right. Those comments are mostly for meeting prestige requirements, right?
exactly. That's the way I look at them, right? They're just there. That's why I don't bother merging them, because I'm like, well, what if I need them later, right? Especially not cool cats. I don't bother because it's like, well, you just got rid of a cool cat, that could be a lot cheaper to prestige up just to try and get a little bit extra gold out of one of the other cool cats. So I don't recommend merging them, especially not for like lower level players. But potentially getting and like I think Kimbo, right? He sold like a Q7, I think it was, or something, diner near the start. And that was just like a ridiculous business. Like he had it up like such a high prestige. So there is utility to merging, right? Like getting those really high quality businesses, even if it is a common, can still be a big producer. But, for people that don't have a really ridiculous diamond gen or weren't purchasing diamonds, it didn't really make sense in my mind to waste those diamonds merging to hope that your business is going to produce more gold.
Yeah, and yeah, that's a good point of why Kimbo is able to do moves like that because he knows how to use the market. He has a pretty high diamond generation. I think he has a blockchain, and so he's able to make those moves. But for plebs like us,
Yeah.
um, yeah, every diamond counts, and I think even myself, I got a little cocky at some point when I was like, well, if I merge or if I make this move, for 6 million diamonds, it's only gonna take me about an hour to get them back or whatever. If I have the 6 million diamond generation, no, I think it was probably less when I first started. But anyways, I'm more like, oh yeah, I can get this back on the first few days, but once it starts, like once the competition like starts getting longer and longer, and you need more businesses and businesses at a higher prestige and keep prestiging up, you are absolutely right. Those 6 million diamonds could have what leveled up prestiged up a few cool cats,
Yeah.
maybe even some gyms or whatever. So yeah,
Yes, 6 million could prestige two of any uncommon other than the Panthera, right? So it's like, and you start looking at it
yeah,
like that, like you said, when you get to that later stage of the competition, and it's like, I think I was running 24 businesses by the time I got to the end there. So, yeah, it was just didn't make sense when I started projecting out to end up wasting diamonds to get those mergers.
yeah, and also another thing that kind of hurt me, and I would really recommend people to learn from that. It's that like I was before we started the podcast, we were talking about how much we made on vouchers and the conversion, and I only kind of keep in mind the crow amount, but I don't necessarily keep in mind the
The
money amount
dollar,
that
yeah.
transfers to. So yeah, like I told you at the beginning, like I bought a cool cats, like kind of like a prestige that would help me, but it cost me like 300 plus vouchers.
Hmm.
And as the competition, you're like, whoa, that seemed kind of pricey. And as the competition went on, I realized that it was super pricey. Like somebody came up with me.
Oh yeah. Well, that's and when you said that, and it was because you bought a cool cats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you told me the price, I was like, wow, I like sure it was a little bit less than what I paid for my because I bought a Leo and Co. Right, so that was my, for better lack of terms, my grow to business. Right, so I purchased one that I knew I wouldn't hit the prestige on, and then just tried to grow into it.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
I,
it
I
does.
bought that for 455K vouchers. So
Mhm.
455.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a
Dude,
very
you took
good.
off for me. Like we were neck to neck, and all of a sudden you just like hit turbo.
Yeah, well, it was that business, right? Because then it was just a matter of like just put a booster on that, and then that's where I started debating: do I get rid of my Pride records, right? And that was also part of the influence around trying to get it to quality four, because I was like, if I can get it to quality four, I could probably get a better price for it, right? So I was thinking about trying to get it there, sell it, and then purchase something to replace it. But then when I failed the merger, I was like, whatever, I'm just going to keep moving forward the way I am. So I could have got a little bit more lean, I think, on my city, and I could have just ran it with my Leo and Cohen, the museum. But in the end, it ended up working out for me okay. the Pride Records still was a good support business for my Leo and Co. Or sorry, yeah, the Leo and Co. And the museum. But you know, future sense, you know, after I got rid of that Felice, the Cineplex, I realized like, okay, now I can actually start moving forward a bit more because I didn't have that massive diamond cost. Mind you, that Cineplex did get me that good rank at the start, right? So it was a benefit up front, but yeah, I think selling it was a good choice.
Yeah, especially because as we're talking about, as the time goes on, it gets like all those diamonds to prestige you up. You could really use them in other businesses because we need so many of them, right? As
Yeah,
opposed to like the weekends blitz or even the 2 week. Like I hadn't found myself with this problem of being waiting for so many diamonds or making merges or purchases that didn't help my diamond generation. So I really came to appreciate my diamond generation for long competitions.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, most
so
definitely.
yeah,
That's one of the things, right? Like we haven't had such a long competition in so long, right? Like even those 2 week competitions we had, like you could still keep a good rank with a lower diamond gen, right? But then this that you know we just doubled the longest competition we played pretty much all last year for this competition, right? Because it's just yeah the different metrics between these extended competitions versus even the weekend showdown, right? Like a weekend showdown, it's just a get in, get to the highest rank you can possibly, and you know it's just so quick that Diamond Gen doesn't really take it any effect really, right? If you get lucky with your business drops, you're gonna get a good position.
yeah, and shout out to those players that really like play consistently through like that stay up like throughout and that like the struggle. They're like, oh, finally it's over. I can sleep. Like I really got burned out by like the last week, and I started sleeping way too much. Like I started like losing kind of like attention to the game, and so it took me hours and hours to log back in, and I think that kind of like hurt my strategy. Like I know, people have different strategies. As far as for me, I believe that it helped me to. I mean, it didn't help me because it set me back from prestiging up. If had I been awake,
Yeah, yeah, that's where like I was partially trying to like strategically plan, you know, almost like what time we're recording right now, right? Like it's almost 9 p.m. my time, and I would almost be looking to get my Pride Records, which was the second business I would prestige up. I'd be looking to get it at its next prestige at around like this time, so then I could sleep throughout the night with my two best businesses at their next prestige level, generating as much gold as possible. That way, when I would wake up in the morning, it would just be a power through all of my commons to be able to get them up to prestige, and then it's just like a little bit of waiting on gold, you know, and that would boost my Leo and Co up to the next prestige because it auto prestiges as soon as you get your commons up. And then it just comes down to throughout the day getting my museum and my Pride Records up to their next prestige.
yeah. And another thing that I like I'm realizing, like I really suck at numbers. Like I get easy. Like I've tried to read the playbook, and I like literally tried, bro. Like I even thought about, okay, let me try to narrate it, right? So it could be like an audio book.
Yep, yeah, that's a good idea.
But all those numbers just yeah, but all the numbers just got me dizzy, and up to now I haven't read the playbook yet, so I guess it's not too bad for how I'm placing. Kind of, I mean, I kind of go through it, and I actually maybe I rely more on the community explaining things. Shout out to Curious, because he's always explaining. He's always really being active in the plaza. So I've learned a lot from the community as
Hmm.
opposed to reading the book. But I know Diamond always tells the people, like, look, man, like, you're asking all these questions without even actually reading the book before. So at least try to read the rules and don't play Uno in your own way. Read the rules. Sometimes my
Yeah,
family and I play Uno and we start making up our own rules. And it's like for any game, just read the rules and go from there. Um,
yeah. And then if you have
so
questions after that, we'll try to explain it, right? But at least if you read the playbook, then you're coming at us with the same jargon that's used in the playbook to ask those questions, right? So at least then we're all on the same playing field, right? We're all using the same words, we're all using the same, jargon as they call it for the game, right? So
Yeah.
that's what the benefit I think of reading through the playbook is. For yourself though, like you've got enough experience, you've been playing as the playbook formed, right? So you were here for each of the updates, so it isn't as jarring when it comes to like trying to go through it because it's like, hey, I was here for mergers coming out. Hey, I was here for the faction changes. I was here for this. I was here for that. Right. Whereas like new community members that are getting into the game, it's like, well, look, if you weren't here through the development of the whole project, up to the point that we're at now, and then it makes sense. Like go through, read through even just looking through the update notes, right? Like, well, what was added when, what went on with this game, right? All that type of stuff will help you get a better understanding, a better grasp of where we were and where we are now, right? And then all of the numbers are in the playbook, right? And yeah, it can be overwhelming, right? Which is sort of why I think that the videos we make, and like you called out Curious, being in the city plaza and helping out people as well, right? I know Woodrow does some help too within the community. There's a lot of community members, like too many to really call out, that are very helpful, right, when it comes to helping explain to newer players. And even in the Void and the
Yeah, that's true.
like your Void Discord, right? You guys got a spot for people to come and ask questions, even whether it's in the unsecured chat, I think is what you guys call it. Um, you know,
Yeah.
we we do the same in
I
the
think you guys
Legion.
have one too, right? An unsecured chat. Like I know you guys have one too because I'm in there.
Yep, yeah, we got
I
our
just I don't
general
have
chat.
access to it.
Yeah, we just got
Uh,
the general chat, and there's a few other, like with all the partnerships and whatnot. There's server, what do they call them? Channels, I guess. So
yeah.
there's server channels throughout the Discord that anybody can join the Legion. Just click that you're a verified person. You don't have to click that you're not a verified Legion member by clicking on verified. It's just a bot control, right? And then that way you'll have access to pretty much everything. You can talk to us, ask us questions. We'll help you out depending on your allegiance. But you know,
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't have to be a legend, but you have to be a human.
yeah, that's basically it, right? So come in, make sure,
Yeah.
and that way we can also talk you through some of the concepts and stuff like that. But your best resource definitely is the main city Discord when it comes to you know queries like that. A lot more
The whole
responsive.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also know, like it also I had to bring it up because about the playbook because one of the members in the Void Discord, he's like, well, how can somebody kind of like explain like how many NFTs or how do I increase my? Oh, I think that was the question. How do I increase my hitting power so that I don't keep getting blocked? And instead of me answering with a kind of like financial advice, like you should buy this, you should buy that, I literally just put a link to the parameters of the playbook
Yep.
so they can read like what everything does. And he literally like no, it wasn't even that same player. Another player's like, oh my god, how come I didn't know this? I was living under a rock.
And it's so
And like he
funny
went to
too because
explain
it's
it.
literally right there on like the click play for free right in the top corner. It's right there. Learn the play the game playbook.
Yeah,
uh,
right. So that I mean, but that's a good example that people just don't read. Like, or we're short spam attention. We just want to start playing. We just want to get on with it. You know that. I guess it's kind of maybe it's a guy thing that we don't like reading instructions. I'm just gonna try to build this from IKEA however I can.
oh yeah. Well, and honestly, that's the thing. Like, you know, full disclosure here, I didn't read the playbook probably for like the first 8 to 10 months that I was playing the game. Right, like I just played. I would sign in, just play, learn the game my own way, and then I realized, hey, there's especially when they started adding all these other parameters and stuff. I was like, all right, I gotta actually dig into this playbook, start learning, all these other mechanisms and stuff that are being added to the game.
Yeah, check the numbers, right?
Exactly. Yeah, but maybe to circle back here. So, I think that purchase of the business that I made, I think it was about I want to say it was maybe 2.5 weeks in, where we started to see the separation of, me climbing and you were sort of staying right on that fringe of the top 100, right? So that
Yeah.
purchase of that business really helped me. I was sort of nervous. I don't like purchasing stuff in the market very often. I kind of like to see where I can play too. But I started looking at the numbers and I realized, all right, if I don't make this purchase, then I'm going to continue to lose rank. And then I started to calculate, okay, well, if I drop another 10 ranks, right, and get pushed out of the top 100, how much vouchers am I going to lose? Right. And I looked at it and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, so I'm going to lose more vouchers just by getting pushed out of the top 100 than this business costs. So to me, it just made sense. It's like I already made some sales in the market. I sold an Apex, I sold an LL Sports Quality 4, and I also sold a Quality 4 bank pretty early. And then I also
Nice.
sold my Felice, right? So I was sitting on like a million vouchers that I had already sold businesses for to be able to
Mhm.
accumulate that. So I was like, okay, let's invest some of those and then see where that difference, in the leaderboard rank takes me. So at that point, I think I was 97 on the rank and I ended up pushing myself up to 88. So the difference between those two paid for that business that I purchased, even though it came out of previous funds from other sales, right? So to me, it just ended up making sense. And there's it's funny because that's what they say, right? Buying that business at the right time can really make the difference for your gameplay. So to me, it ended up paying itself off based on the leaderboard ranks. And then, it was also money that I was already just playing, house's money, if you want to call it that, since it was stuff that
Mhm.
I had already sold and made. So, yeah, no, I think it worked out quite well. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think the market it's like a big part of the game, and like there's people that have less damage generation, um, than maybe like I think there I forget the name, um, but yeah, some people play with like 3.5 an hour, but that's not really how they use it. Like they buy the diamonds because they know that they can invest them and resell them, and they're good at that in the market.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was like like if I don't, I'm gonna try to push because I, the investments that I've made with lands and NFTs. Like, I don't want to kind of like buy more diamonds, but I didn't like. I started being like, let me send at least one of my first blueprints because I know that that's when the blueprint price is the highest.
Yep.
Um, and that can give me some vouchers to play around with later.
Yeah,
Um,
whereas I do the
so
opposite. I gamble on opening them and then hoping that it's a good business that I could sell for even more than what I'd sell the blueprint for.
and this time it paid off, right? Like you got some pretty good businesses from the blueprints.
Well, that's it. I could have sold that uncommon blueprint, the blue blueprint, hide in that Q4 bank. And that Q4 bank was my biggest sale. I think I ended up
Yeah,
getting about 600, maybe 650,000 vouchers out of it. So 650 crow, that's like, $65.
nice.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, the like you were talking about earlier, like it's $60, but it's $60 that you were able to like be house money, and that helped you to place even better. So that was like a great investment that you actually ended up getting more vouchers by placing higher, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, I also get the vanity of being a top 100 player, right? So, and also
Yeah, yeah.
I finished with a Crazy Monster Arcane Creature PFP. So, being in the top 100, they're also giving a free NFT to all the top 100 players. So, I'm gonna get myself an extra Arcane Creature. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what held me back is just trying to get like so I had two bazaars and I was actually had a pretty good setup because I had like two no I had like three Leo and codes and then I had one den that was like a two started thing like quality two. But like I just for some reason I made a mistake of just saying okay these two slots make a lot more income, but I didn't like really keep in mind that it's not just the diamonds that it costs to prestige. like meaning like after you are ready to prestige, it's like 4 million or whatever. But it's also the diamonds that get you there, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think like when you said I'm running a lean city, I had a crimson fat. I think what I did is I like moved the record that I had. So see, that was like I had four uncommons, and now I realized that that was unnecessary. I mean, I should have sold one again. Like it was necessary until some point, but then you have to keep moving the strategies around and trying to see where are you getting. At least for me, I had to move my strategies around and see how it was getting a little too expensive. So
Yeah, that many
yeah, like
uncommons is.
right, it's unnecessary, right? I would say
I think so.
after
Personally,
a
maybe
yeah.
two uncommons at the most is what I would run. I had that at the start. I had the Pride Records and I had my LL Sports. I ended up keeping the records because the LL Sports was quality four. So I ended up listing it for 100K vouchers, and it sold. I was hoping I would get some more bids on it, but it ended up just selling on the first bid. Which, whatever. I mean, hey, extra 85 thousand vouchers right for myself, so an extra 85 crow. But it helped lean down my city, and then yeah, just switched over and had to focus on bringing up another common to sort of replace it. But that wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, so, definitely, definitely a learning experience as far as like long competitions, and especially because this is pretty much like the second one that we've had, right? Like I think World Series one, um,
It was
it was the
5 weeks,
first competition.
right? The first one
Five
was.
weeks?
I'm pretty sure the first one was 5 weeks.
Sheesh.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one I placed like 1,000 and something. I didn't even make it to the top 1,000.
yeah, I remember that one. I thought I had a position secured in the top 500, and then so I sold off some of my businesses, and this was before they had live power, right? And then the total power accumulated over the competition, so it was purely based on gold, and I didn't realize that selling out these businesses was going to hurt me as much as it did because people just bought in right at the end, jumped back up, and I think I ended up getting pushed to like maybe like 30 out of the top 500, and I was like, damn, I was really hoping for that extra NFT, right?
Yeah.
Oh well, what can
Well,
you do,
totally
right?
forgot about the NFT prices. So we get what,
Yeah, here, I'll
five
just
NFTs?
let me just switch over and I will pop this up. So this is the leaderboard ranking and the prizes that everybody's going to get, right? So the top 5 or top 1000 to 501, you're going to get 3 free random NFTs from the Tactical Gear collection. 251 to 500, you're getting 4. This is the spot that we're in, is the 51 to 250. So that's going to be 5 NFTs from the Tactical Gear collection. And then 11 to 50, they're getting 6. And then I'm pretty sure the top 10 are also getting Tactical Gear NFTs. But then on top of that, I mean, don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% certain, but I know that's how it was in the past. But then they're also going to get the trophy rewards, right? So, number one is going to get the Golden General Award. Then there's the Silver Sovereign Award. And then number 3 gets Bronze Fury. And then 4 to 10, you're going to get the Eminent Champion Awards. So, yeah, no, some NFTs. So that's going to be an even, depending on what you get dropped. I mean, all of the NFTs are a bonus, really, on top of your actual voucher prize pool. But, if you end up getting something, like a Gatling gun, even like if you got a generator or a data pad, I mean, that's a huge win there. Like, I think they're still 90 to $100 each. So that's pretty significant. And then there's also, some even like the EMP shells, which counter the Gatling gun. Those are still valuable. Get yourself maybe some of the say encryption devices, or what's the one that the virus capsule, right? That's the
Fire
malware.
capsules. Yeah,
Yeah.
for the malware. Yeah, those are good.
Yes. So there's good potential still in the NFT pool. right? I mean, sure, okay, you're probably going to get yourself a turbine or maybe a grenade launcher. Everybody does. Don't get
Yeah,
discouraged, but you'll still get some.
out of your
Hopefully,
five,
yeah, exactly.
at least one.
So hopefully, out of the five that we're getting, we'll get one decent thing. I mean, I could really go for another Gatling gun or a
Yeah.
generator or a data pad, but I mean, they're just all extra bonuses. So um, yeah, we'll see what
And
we
I
end up
think it
getting.
for players that are like kind of like new, for the new players that are getting on board, like any weapon might help. Whether you wanna, I mean, if you wanna sell it, that's on you. But if you're gonna still play the game, that I suggest you keep it and you use it for the game, and you can place higher, get more NFTs, get more vouchers. A lot of people that have sold their NFTs and they came back for the game, they're kind of regretting now.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. And I think speaking of NFTs, maybe just to round up or round out the our competition experience, what did you think? You borrowed some stuff from the Lionel the Lion project, right? Did you find that helped out?
Yeah, I borrowed a tent and it did help out when I had it equipped. It didn't help out after an attack, and I forgot to unequip it. And I was like, oh, if I was, because it was a tryout project, so there was no fees involved. It was just the collateral, which after I just returned the NFT already, so I got my collateral back. Um, so
Right on.
yeah, it definitely helps when you put them to use.
Yeah, no, I know. There was a couple days that I woke up, right, and you check in on the game. I was like, great, I forgot to equip all my tools last night before I went to bed after sending out a barrage of attacks.
I
That
feel it.
happens
I
though.
feel the pain.
Yeah, cool. No, I'm glad that worked out. Maybe in the future I might consider borrowing a land, see if I can get my diamond gen boosted or something like that.
Yeah, it's a good it's a good idea, and it kind of like it has different budgets, of course. Whatever you can kind of like borrow, but I mean, it's definitely something that but later on, hopefully, they have something like borrow to buy. You know, if you kind of like how it helped you out, if you kind of really like, this is it's maybe like a tryout. So who knows? Maybe you end up keeping it, and we'll see how things go.
Yeah, yeah, no, that'd be kind of cool, right? You put up the collateral, and then it's basically like that was part of the fee, and then if you decide you like it, just discuss, okay, well, how much of the collateral is returned, or does he keep all the collateral and you get to keep the NFT? Something along those lines would be
Yeah, we'll
doable.
see how the details go, but I think the idea is it's pretty good. We'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's a cool project, so definitely worth checking out, and especially I think as we get more into some of these competitions, right? Whatever's going to be coming for season three might be a way for more newer, like the newer members of the community to experience. It's like, hey, I don't really have the money to buy a molten cavern, but I want to try playing with one, right? And you borrow it first, then you go, yeah, no, that made the difference. Having that, the extra spaces available, plus just that extra bit of diamond gen that molten cavern would give you, might make you decide, what, I'm going to pull the trigger and be one of those under 1,000 owners, right? I think there's only 980 of them or something like that. So,
Mm. Yeah, and this is Lioness Lionel project that we're talking about. Lion. That's the original ticker symbol lion. For anybody who is not aware, it's a great project.
yeah, yeah, graduated from the Agent AI system. So, we're might get a little confusing as we continue to discuss Lion token, right? Because of this project as well as the actual CDC Lion team anticipating a airdrop. But we'll get more into that project as we get through the podcast here.
All right, sounds good.
Cool. So, any last words? I think on the competition. Are you happy with where you placed? And yeah, do you got any
Yeah,
other lessons learned you want to share?
I'm definitely um okay with where I placed. I guess because I'm so close to the 100s, and I made a few mistakes, especially like on the last 24 hours, which is like it was like the most important. Um, but no, I'm happy. I am happy when I'm not gonna be ungrateful. I am happy on where I placed. Um, I learned to um I learned to start after a certain point. I need to start building up some cool cats to meet prestige, because there were like two times where the prestige requirement caught me off guard, and I
Mhm.
had to like build up. I even used. I remember telling you. I even used the service where they charge you 5% of the diamond to upgrade all the way to whatever you can afford with your diamonds, just so that you don't have to click all the way.
Yep. Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of did regret it because, like you say, diamonds are diamonds. But yeah, that's because I feel like desperate, like I didn't. Yeah, I was like, oh, it's gonna take me long, and it caught me off guard. I guess my anxiety got the best of me. So yeah, one thing that I'm gonna do for sure on these long competitions is to start building up some cool cats in the backside.
Yes. Yeah. I even do that in normal mode. Actually, you know what? We got. I'll switch over and just turn this off, and so I'll flip over to my normal mode on main
Mhm.
city, and I'll just show you. So I always keep a land at the back here, right? So I'm working on P201, and I've got a bunch already lined up at P200, ready to be
You're cutting off
used.
a little bit. Oh, I think it's because never mind. I remember now. So yeah, it'll stay recording.
Yeah. So, sorry, I was just showing my one land now. So yeah, I do have 200, like P200s. I've got four of them on deck, right? So they're basically ready. I'm at P201, and I've got
So I
four.
can, yeah,
So that's sort of the way that I like to manage it.
already.
Yeah, you can hear me all right now? A little better. So yeah, that's sort of the route that I like to try and take, right? Is to get those set up prior to dealing with you know dealing with it right at the moment. So at least then it's like, hey, I'm all ready to go. I don't have to sit there and be like, which
No,
businesses
and I
am I
gotta
trying to
I
bring
gotta
up?
learn from that.
Yeah, it's just a small
Yeah,
managing.
I had to.
Yeah, go.
I met with the wall a few days ago when I had a like prestige in normal mode too from zero. So I was like, okay, definitely I gotta do something about this. This is not, it's I guess again, live and learn from the games, and definitely even in normal mode, I need to like start building up some other businesses. Because I found myself having to build up one last week from zero to the next requirement.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, right? Especially when you get into like the 20s and 30s. And I mean, I couldn't even imagine like Crypto Diamond hitting P200, right? To bring up a business all the way up to P200. So, yeah, that's a
That's a lot of clicking.
oh, it's a lot of clicking. I'm sure he's using that max button. There's no way he's not, or he's just purchasing once he needs.
Yeah, no, he definitely if he has to, he'll do anything. Like diamonds, I guess that's what scripted diamond, right? That's part of his name. Diamonds are,
Yep, that's
you
it. He just converts his crypto to diamonds.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. But shout out to him if he knows his. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Hey,
strategies and
he's
yep.
even with the we're talking merging doesn't make sense to us, and here he is with like I think he had a Q8, like I don't know if it was an Apex or
Pantera.
an arcade or something, but
Jeez.
yeah, it was something like that, and I'm just like, Jesus, that is insane, like absolutely insane to think about. But to him, that's you know sort of the fun of it. But
Fun.
yeah,
Yeah, that's fun.
yeah. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about factions, right? So, you know, we obviously maybe we'll talk a little bit more about like Papa's effort. Papa Bigfoot. I know he was in the trenches all leading up to this whole competition. Recruiting people for the Void. So, kudos to him. He brought in a lot of new players, which is awesome. Great for the game. Great for the community. So yeah, thank you to Papa Bigfoot for everything that he was doing on X Spaces and everything. But with the whole faction system, like, yeah, I think it was a heck of a battle. Um, it's a bit still of an upset. Not having Legion take the win when we had the lead the entire time. Right, it was like what the last 6 hours was the big change there.
I think it was less. No, remember we were on the space when
Yeah, it was might even been the
I
last
think it
like
was
three
Fiend for
hours.
Crow, right?
Yeah, Fiend for Crow. Fiend made his choice, selected the Void, and then yeah, his buddy Ash No Cash joined the fray. Finally decided to choose a side, and yeah, it gave him that last little bit of power that they needed to overtake the Legion.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It was great for the story. And again, it goes to say, yeah, like back to what Papa said, like Papa recruiting people, especially because of the spaces. That's how we get to know the community. I think that's the best way to get to talking and stuff. I don't really have a whole lot of time to be on spaces all the time, or even talk. Like a lot of times I join, but I'm not able to talk.
Mhm.
So shout out to him that he's not shy, that he knows the game very well, and that he knows how to explain it well with calm. And yeah, he recruited some pretty good turned out some pretty good players.
No, definitely. I mean, you guys are lucky to have him as an asset for whether it's just for the recruiting for Void or he's an amazing player when it comes to his play style and everything too, right? Like he's not a super aggressive or active. I know it's funny though, because that's I guess aggressive, non-aggressive should maybe be taken back there because I know that's all he wants to do is just attack people. It's hilarious.
Especially when he gets attacked. Oh, don't poke the
Yeah, don't.
Bigfoot because he'll get that slingshot.
Yeah, exactly. Don't disturb the Yeti.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, he found some very good players. Shout out to Mr. Loco, Diamond Hands, and Sunshine for not only like joining the game, joining the void, but also like helping out with the spaces to spread the word. A lot. Some of the other players, like shout out to Gary for holding spaces. Shout out to Papa Bigfoot. Uh,
Yeah,
but they weren't as frequent as Mr. Loco or Sunshine or Diamond Hands. I guess they were already used to holding spaces for their own projects that they're in, so it was kind of like second nature to them, and it does help a lot because when the community gets together, it's kind of like the plaza, right? But you don't have to type; it's just straight out like live
yeah.
chat, and there's a lot of information that gets exchanged.
Oh, definitely. No, and I remember some of the first ones that I sat in with Mr. Loco and Papa talking. And I would get up there, you know, them using some of my YouTube videos as resources, right? So they liked that I would come up and chit chat with them, and it's more of a interactive, right? Being able to actually ask the question right to somebody that knows the answer. They
Mhm.
started to argue like that's the benefit of the spaces, right? That's why we need to start holding these X spaces and let people come in, new community members to talk to the experienced players, and get it straight from the horse's mouth. So it's yeah, big shout out, big kudos to them. I know what Mr. Loco and Diamond Hands and Sunshine, like they were running an X space a day for like probably even like half the competition. Like I know there was a couple, like at least one week I remember seeing like a space every single day they had running, right? So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Um, so yeah, that's great additions.
Yeah, and maybe before we get a little bit more into talking about the community efforts and stuff, I think the last thing, you know, um, aside from some of the other topics, I think around market and voucher tax that we had, I think the faction selection, right? So that really came.
Oh yeah.
That was the big turning point, right? That was where we had people that played the entire competition factionless, right? That's where we were saying earlier, like Ash with Ash No Cash and Fiend, they both their power had not been assigned to either faction, And that's what ended up swinging the fray of the battle here, was that when they chose Void, that's what ended up giving them enough power, right? And I remember seeing the same issue during the showdowns, right? Where it's like, Legion would have this slight lead throughout pretty much the whole showdown, and then it's just right at the end, these players that weren't assigned to the Void would just make that final decision. It's like, okay, now we're Void, and then it's like, well, Void won, right? So, um,
Yeah.
I had written this in the community feedback or game feedback that, you know, especially to me in this long competition, if you hadn't selected a faction within like even the first week at the latest, then you shouldn't have the option to choose a faction. And I get there's some strategy. It's like, well, we don't want our power totaled and stuff like that. But then it just sort of defeats the purpose of the war leaderboard, right? Because then the war leaderboard doesn't have everybody's power on it. And, you almost have to manually go through and calculate each person's power based on past allegiances, right? So I think, that's where it's like first 72 hours is my personal preference, right? You've got a couple days, make your choice, right?
Make up your mind.
Yeah, or even if it's a week, whatever, right? Especially when it's a 4 week competition, give them a week. You can make your choice. If you got that play style where it's like, I just want to attack everybody, all right, then don't choose a faction. And that's how it's going to be right to the end. Or, if you
Yeah.
want that play style, do that up until the last, that nearing the end of that first week. Then make your choice. Are you Void or are you Legion, right?
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up because people might like people that are listening might be wondering, well, what's the benefit of not choosing a faction besides uh like the suspense, right? At the very end of knowing where you're gonna go. And pretty much the logic or the strategy behind it is like you said, that you could be on your way up and hit anybody who's next to you, so you don't have to wait for your faction to be right next to you to get that 95% hit instead of the 50% hit that is like two spaces away, no matter what the faction is. So that's something that hopefully, if the devs change to where is 95% to the next faction instead of the next player, I think that'll help to kind of like switch that strategy and be like you were saying, like choose a faction within a certain time. Otherwise, you don't choose it. Like you said, you want to use that strategy. That's all right. That's cool. But at a certain point, then you're a mercenary. You're a mercenary, right? And so, yeah. In case people didn't quite know why they did that, it's because they're able to attack anybody that's next to them without anybody kind of like complaining because you're not really from their team, right?
Well, that and you don't have to click that extra button, right? So where it's like
Oh,
they're part of your faction. Are you sure you want to attack them? And then you have to click confirm. Uh,
don't give me a guilt trip. I
yeah,
just want
exactly.
my bonuses.
Yeah, I'm just throwing attacks everywhere, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Put
I
me
know.
with a guilt trip.
So we'll see what happens. It was pretty fun being in that space where Fiend made his choice. But personally, I don't think that should even be part of the game. I think that it should have already been decided. I know it doesn't make it as exciting. It's like, oh, it went right down to the wire. And it's like, not really. I mean, it was already decided, right? Like, three, like at most, it was like five players that the whole decision relied on, right? And, from the past, most of them played Void anyway. So it was pretty apparent once you started looking at the leaderboard and running the numbers. It's like, well, there's no way that Legion can really win this unless they just don't make that choice. And then they made the choice right at the end. And yeah, how we see what the fate of that was, right?
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of like using the mechanics of the game. It's kind of like using the rules of the game, like in other competitions in the past. Like you were saying before, they did the points update and all that. When it was like a live score the whole time, players will be dropping down like we do in normal mode sometimes. So you were able to, and this was throughout the whole competition. You were able to drop down, especially like top players. And I mean, it doesn't matter who it is, not to point anybody out, but I mean, again, the strategy is being used that it's allowed by the game. So they would go down to players that they know they don't really have NFT, so they're not gonna block their attacks and they're gonna get good hits. And they did that without breaking rules. I mean, it was the rules that the game had. They changed them so that wouldn't happen. So yeah, maybe they'll get the suggestion that you're saying and make that change also, and they won't be able to take advantage of things. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if they make like the suggestion that you discussed, right? The hit 95% hit rate on the next opposing faction opposed to the person right next to you. Like if they make that little change, then there's zero excuse for people not to choose a faction. And then yeah, if they implement a mandatory faction window for your selection, then I think, there's yeah, it'll be a lot more entertaining, a lot more engaging, and we would see that closer race, right? Because it was a close race. It was a close race the entire
Yeah.
time. It's just it didn't look like it because some of the Void members didn't choose their faction yet. So, but yeah, we'll see what
Yeah.
happens in the future, right? That's it's all part of the learning experience. We're still in alpha. They're developing, always updating. So
Yeah, and it's part of the speculations, right, of what they're gonna do. But I like what you said. I like to point out again what you said, that little change. So for us, it seems like it's just a change in the code, right? Like I really don't understand why they don't make that change when it kind of seems pretty logical. So I really don't know. I mean, even the banner where it says competitive event coming soon, like I've sent so many screenshots of how that same banner, when you flip to competition mode, it has the right contrast on the colors. So to me, it seems like, why don't they make this change? It seems so easy, but we're not the devs, so it seems like a really easy change, and hopefully they'll do it. The I'm talking about the hitting the next faction, opposite faction, so that you can get that 95%. So I really don't know what they don't do it, but I like how you said it to us players. It seems like such a simple change that would make so much difference in the game style and the community. Like just it would
yeah,
shake things up.
yeah, exactly. And here it's you might not hear me too well. I'm gonna flip back over just to show my normal mode leaderboard, right? And exactly what you're
Yeah.
saying. I am sandwiched between so many Legion right now, right? So like it's just ridiculous. So if I had the option to actually be able to attack the next closest void, opposed to, like I could actually hit him with a 95% chance, Clarice, opposed to having to deal with the 50%, even though he's only 3 ranks away, right? And then above me, it's like, we're looking at Kroshuf, right? Another 6 ranks away and 50%. So it would just be nice to have that availability of like, hey, we're actually going to be able to attack people that are the next opposing faction instead of having to do a drop down technique and all that other type of stuff in normal mode, right? So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but
Yeah.
like you were saying, it's an easy change for me in my mind. But yeah, the background, the back, the actual coding on the back end could be a lot more complex and difficult to implement such a small, simple change for what we think it is, right?
Yeah, and because a few days ago I got hit by a void member, and I was like, oh, he was on the Discord, so I tagged him, and I'm like, like I pointed it out, like, oh, and I put it on the in the main city Discord in the channel of in the void channel,
Oh yeah, yeah, I saw that.
and he responded, and yeah, he was like, what was the next person next to you? Like it was, and I was like, all right, well, it's on now. And after, like, I thought it was gonna be like a full blown like fight. I thought he was gonna come back and come back, but he didn't. Like I hit him with like four. I think it was four out of five attacks I landed,
Yeah,
and I think I hit him twice. Like one of those times I went down because we were next to him and I hit him, and then I went down and I hit him again, and then I was like, okay, I think I'm being a bully now.
yeah. Well, yeah, either that or you got
Yeah,
the message.
right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he got the message because it's not like he can come up, and especially because I have like my Apex and my arcade in the first land. So again, like we were talking about before, that some people run different, but we like to build a city that we like. But also the other benefit is that when you prestige up those businesses on your first land that are going to the next prestige, you move pretty fast on the leaderboard, right? So he
Mhm.
was like way down, not way down, but like a few. Again, it goes back to like he can't come up. I could go down, but he can't come up. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Well, I mean, he could try to get close by attacking people all the way up and get enough of a booster to maybe have a chance to hit you, but it might be just a 50%, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah,
So
I
we'll see
mean,
what they do with that.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, other than that, I know at this point, Legion's going to be recruiting hard. We got to compete with Papa's recruitment efforts. So yeah,
True, true.
we'll switch over maybe. So I think we've covered most of what we want to talk about faction wise, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more, in depth. We're discussing the community efforts a little bit there. With Sunshine, Mr. Loco, and Diamond Hands, and Papa. Gary Spaces, all these events going on X, right? So there's been a lot of, you know, drive, I guess, to have these types of X spaces where community members can come up and ask questions as they're starting the game, and there's been giveaways and things like that going on X. So there's a lot of community effort going on. One thing I wanted to flash up before we really get into discussing any of the other community efforts is Bitcoin Glitch. So I'm going to pop up his website right now, but he's put together sort of an overview of what's been going on with Main City. So you can see his website here. Um, this is his little article that he had posted that was about the Void taking the crown here. So if you haven't given his vlog or his little blog that he's got going on here, I guess it's not a vlog, it's a blog, but yeah, he's putting together. He says this is the second little article he's written, so definitely go check it out. He's got a X page as well, so make sure you follow him. But yeah, give it a little read through. It gives a good little overview of what was going on.
And what's the user's name again? The
His name's Bitcoin Glitch.
Bitcoin glitch. All right, all right. Yeah, I saw the first article that he did. That was pretty informative. I haven't read the last one, so yeah, I'll get to it. And yeah, shout out to him for again spreading the word about the game.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He just goes a little bit over of what happened in that X space that we were both sitting in, right? So
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah. He talked a little bit about Fiend for Crow's choice, and then what went on with Ash No Cash, and sort of how that ended up taking the Void to victory, right? So yeah, good little history read for the history books, I guess, at this point now, right?
Exactly. Yeah, shout out to him for keeping the record. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly. So
For
def-
generations to come.
hey, we need those, right? We're
Yeah, definitely.
as the game progresses, it's good to sort of look back and be like, well, this is where we came from. Look how far we've come.
Yeah, and you know what? That's so true because even new players, they kind of go through our videos that we posted since like, before. And then even though we posted them some time ago, it still helps players. So yeah.
100%, right? And as our videos, God forbid, I guess, get outdated, we may need to do some effort in updating them when it comes to some of the mechanics and whatnot. But, that's sort of where, both of ourselves here trying to produce some content that newer players can consume at an easier pace than trying to just pound through the the playbook, right? That's a daunting task. So, there's lots of little
Yeah, or
community efforts going on.
yeah, or I was gonna also say, they could probably watch the videos, and then after they watch the videos, they go to the playbook, and it won't seem so much as gibberish. Like you were talking about the lingo and the jargon of the playbook and the whole city and you know So yeah, I think even if they watch the videos first and then they do the playbook, or vice versa, I think putting them both together, like you were saying, it kind of puts in perspective, the real world of the game, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's where it's just, try to give people an alternative, right? Because not everybody likes to read, and like you were saying with yourself, try to get it to read it out to myself, but then it starts making weird, trying to read those tables and stuff like that. Like I could only imagine listening
Yeah,
to the AI try to
totally
read out
different.
the, yeah, just listing out
I know, right?
numbers. Uncommon, quality two, merge, percentage. It's just like what? But
Yeah, this is negative or positive. I don't know, or this gives you 0.07, but just knowing 0 point something, I'm like, no, I need whole numbers.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Especially yeah, when you get into like the tools and what they produce for bonuses in game and stuff, like it could be confusing, right? So, um, but yeah, I mean, back to like the X. I think X is sort of the up and coming platform. I mean, it's not an up and coming platform, but it's the spot where it seems like a lot of community members congregate, right? Like Discord, yeah, okay, there's some activity on the main city Discord. I know the Legion Discord, we've got people that regularly check in and whatnot, but it's not like super active. Whereas like when you go to X, right, and there's a lot of stuff going on there. Like even Blazius, he's always on X, and there's Pomo and even the other people we were calling out earlier, right? You'll see Crypto Diamond. I think he's more prominent when it comes to talking on X opposed to being in Discord. So it seems like X is more of the platform where a lot of these community members have been discussing and being active, right? So I think that's a personal goal for myself is, and like yourself, DJ. It's hard to get into X spaces often and be able to be there, be fully engaged in them. But I might try to make it a point of contention of just like get on X, even if it's once or twice a week, just to try and engage with the community in a space. Hop into Mr. Local space or, you know, even if Gary's, I like to hop into Gary's spaces as often as possible when he's got them, but he always seems to host them as soon as I go to bed. So I don't know what's up there.
Times difference, maybe, huh? The time change.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing. It's like it's like well into the morning for you. It's got to be like 2, 3 a.m. when he starts these. So I'm just like, geez. And here I am going to bed at like 10 o'clock, and the next thing I know, there's I wake up in the morning and I see, hey, there was an X space that Gary posted, and I'm like, oh man, that's too bad I missed it.
Yeah, he's a night owl. He's a night owl. But
Most definitely.
yeah, they get good, and sometimes he leaves them on and just let other co-host run them. And again, shout out to him being the OG. And also, a lot of times he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys, I haven't been able to put some in like a week or so." So I think it also relieves some of the pressure for him, knowing that there's other players holding them. Because I know he loves the community, and I know Gary's always like doing everything he can for the whole Loaded Lions community and Main City community.
Yeah,
So, but I'm glad that he's
yeah.
getting some help as far as getting people together.
No, most definitely, right? And that's where like maybe one day I'll dabble in hosting. I don't mind co-hosting every once in a while. It's just I think, and maybe you have the same sentiment, right? It's like I like just doing the videos and being able to be more of a consume at leisure type of media opposed to being like in the spaces and trying to do those because that's I mean it's exhausting. I know even like the few that I sat in on and you're in there for like 5 6 hours talking to people and I'm just like I'm dead the next day like it's my social battery
Yeah,
just
even
dies.
yeah, I was gonna say even intellectually, you're like, oh,
Oh, I know.
but
Especially when people are asking, it's like, "Hey, I got this. Check out my layout. What should I do to change?" And I'm like running numbers and looking at stuff for them, and it can be draining, but it's a lot. It's rewarding though, right? Especially when you see and it's like, hey, they reach out back out to you, and it's like that made the difference. These little tips that you gave me, and I ended up going from something being in the top 1,000, sitting around like 700, and I ended up pushing into like the 500s. And it's like, man, I'm glad to hear that. It's it feels good to know
nice.
that you get a few people back up, and I mean, I help anyone. If you ask, I'm not Legion or Void, really, when it comes down to it. I'm Legion, obviously, but that's part of, I think, the Legion persona is to try to help out, right, and be a valued asset to the whole community, not just our own faction. Mind you, there's still our
Yeah, no,
faction
and
secrets, so
yeah, it's part of the legion to just bootleg your information not playing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We just steal everything from Hayden and Meta.
We just set it up. No, but yeah, no, shout out. Thank you for breaking down the numbers, and I think the community feels comfortable asking you. And I even I'm like, you're a numbers guy, and you're like, no, I'm really not. But when it comes to it, like the numbers that you run do help out. So um,
Yeah, like
yeah, thanks for that. And I feel what you were saying too about being too engaged in too many things could be a little exhausting too. So yeah, thank you still for doing that and just caring about overall because it's true. It doesn't matter if they're void or legion. If they have a question that you can help them out with, you do. So
yeah, I look at it more of like the faction stuff is fun to have little spits and whatnot at each other of, hey, you're not my faction, and you can have those little rivals going on. But at the end of the day, we're all lions, and I want to see this game succeed. And so it doesn't matter what faction they're fighting for. If they're not having fun and they're getting frustrated with how the game mechanics work, not understanding it, then the game's not going to do well. So I'd rather be there as a
they'll probably just
resource.
leave, huh?
What's that?
No, I was gonna say, and they'll probably just leave if they get
Yeah,
frustrated. They're gonna be like, "Oh, I don't understand this game," and blah blah blah. And they'll probably just leave as opposed to like understanding and like you said, they feel so grateful and placing better and understanding the game.
exactly. That's the thing, right? Like the last thing you want to do is have people come in. It's a significant investment if they start getting into buying lands and lions and tools and backpacks and weapons and cubs and all this type of stuff. Crazy monsters, monks, and marys and all this type of stuff to try and be a well-rounded competitive player, right? It's expensive and it's also daunting, right? You look at it and it's like, what am I supposed to buy? what, what am I even looking at here? There's so many collections now, and it's like, what does each one do? So, just having somebody help out in that capacity, right? And I know Mr. Loco, he's getting into it, and Diamond Hands and Sunshine, and Papa's out there walking people through what each collection does too on spaces, and it's just that's the small things that need to happen.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. No, you're right.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I guess we can move on from the community efforts here. I think we've not exhausted the community efforts by any means. There's tons of stuff going on out there. Get involved in X. Definitely check out the Discords. Hop into the Legion or the Void Discord and say hi. You might see us in the main city plaza, or helping out with the strategy stuff as well. So definitely get involved in the communities, but don't sleep on the X. That's what I'm realizing. There's a lot of stuff going on X.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you know what you're right because I'm realizing how many loaded lions are into the trading and the projects and this and that. But there's so many lions, whether it's dark lions or loaded lions, that are not into the game. So and actually, like especially loaded lions, because that's like the main project that they had. Maybe if you already have a dark lion, you're already in the game. But there's a lot of loaded lions that are not in the game, and we can pull them in from X because they're very active on X. They're very active on the giveaways and on the crypto.com Discord with the loaded lions community. So they're into the crow fam, into the community. but they've never really been involved in the game. And little by little, people are getting interested.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even like Flippin', right? Raz Al Ghul, he he's been pretty active on X with the other stuff that goes on as Loaded Lions, but he literally started partway through the competition, and I mean, he did quite well for his first time. So yeah, there's tons of stuff, like you said, tons of lions and people that are still not even in the community, not even playing main city, right? So whether this, and as we maybe get into the next topic here, which we could switch over to, the roadmap and whatnot, as we get closer to something like the actual beta version for an app that's going to be on phone. I think maybe that's going to
Hmm.
be the big catalyst for bringing in a lot of new players.
Yeah, probably. Just before we jump into that, just real quick, since you brought up the name Flipping, Flipping, it's a great example, right, of somebody who wasn't involved, and he got involved, and he loves the game so much that he's already made so many songs, can't even keep up and try to post them. Um, so that's a perfect example of a lion who didn't know the project and he just fell in love with it. So imagine how many lions are missing out on this.
Yeah, yeah, he's been cranking out songs. I know, like, well, he helped me with the beat and obviously the AI voice for my original song that I wrote the lyrics for. So he's
I
been
really thought that was your voice, bro. That AI really got me. I was
uh
like,
it
how
it
is he so calm? And then when he goes ham.
it's so yeah, I sent him my original like song, and I think what he did was he took my original song, pair like made a an AI version of my voice, so that way he could use it for that song. I don't know if he still
Oh,
uses
so
it.
he kind of recorded your voice and kind of used your voice as a sample kind of thing?
Yeah, yeah. So I sent him some voice samples and stuff like
Oh,
that, and
that's what's up.
I attempted to actually rap my lyrics myself, and I think then he used that bass audio to sort of create the model for the AI
Oh,
voice
that's
that
what's
he's,
up.
at least for the songs that I'm involved in, right? So like when we did the void rap and my
You,
rap, but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
now
You did
he's
too, right? Two songs?
yeah, yeah, and I do want to do a couple more. It's just real life takes over, and now that we're done the competition, I do have a little bit more free time, but still, it's
Yeah,
it's where you start getting
me too. And
stretched
plus,
thin.
I've been rusty. Yeah, we full disclosure, we're thinking about coming up with the song together, so hopefully that'll come into fruition.
Yeah, yeah, no, we'll definitely get that done. And I see, I mean, you've been posting all of Flippin's music, right? That he's been outputting. So,
Bro,
um,
I'm a bootlegger.
yeah. Well, and I guess before we do move on from that, just the final shout out is he does have a Spotify. So definitely
Oh,
if you're on Spotify or Apple Music, SoundCloud, I think he's also got an account on. So he's out there, making these songs for Main City. He also makes other songs just in general related to like crypto, NFT trading, stuff like that. So, you know, weird,
okay.
a weird
Yeah,
little
so he's one
niche.
of the officials.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Weird niche to be making music in, but hey, it's fun times, right?
Yeah, yeah, for reals, for reals.
I know.
All right.
So
So
yeah,
what's next?
lion token. All right, and then
Woo.
so yeah, this is I guess that this is we're already at the hour 20, coming up on an hour 20 here. So this is more
Okay.
of the speculative stuff. So we'll if you're tuning out, but I think tuning in for the a little bit of our discussion around the lion token as well as the project roadmap, and then our final topic of the speculation around season 3, fractured fate. Oh, tongue tie. Uh, yeah, so we'll do a little bit of speculation here. Nothing's written in stone. This is all just based on our own interpretations of what's been going on. So yeah, we'll let me just flip over and bring up the lion map here so you can see what we're looking at. So I've got the lion roadmap for the next 5 years laid out here. So this is off of their website, and this is the roadmap that we're looking at. We've got in Q1 and Q2 some stuff happening for 2025. The Q3 and Q4. So they've got pretty detailed 1 year snapshot broken down here for 2025. And then in the future, they've got their 2026, 2027 ambitions, and then 2028, 2029 hopes and dreams, right? um, but I mean, other than the main thing being the lion token, which was supposed to be airdropped already, you know, there was the excuse. Whether it's a valid excuse or not is up for interpretation. I think it probably is for the betterment of the project that they did hold off in this massive market dump. But they did hold off because of market conditions, and we will see when they do the final distribution, as well as if they've also postponed the snapshot. But yeah,
Yeah, and yeah. Speaking of the snapshot, I was surprised that they were gonna do the snapshot before the end of the game because it was for how you placed in the leaderboard, but yet the game hadn't finished. So I guess that's one of the good things about it.
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
the one thing that threw me for a loop too. Is just like, so we're gonna do the snapshot for the leaderboard before the leaderboard's finalized, and then you're gonna send out an airdrop for it.
right? Yeah. So that from there you could tell that maybe things weren't really planned out as well. Just the fact that that's a little detail. Um, Another thing that I would want to say about the Lion token, it's that hours before, no, actually probably maybe like an hour before the token was about to drop, I got on space. And again, going back to what we're saying, right? Like the community spaces is a lot of the places to get information. And I jumped on one of those that you said, I think it said Lion token expectation or something, but these were people that are really into crypto. They know about contract addresses, and they knew how to track things down. And they were like, okay, I think they put one out. No, I don't think that's it. I think they put another one out. No, and they were like really, and they were like, oh, like we got. I don't know who the snipers were. Maybe they were saying they were had snipers, and so at that time, um, it was surprising how much people know about things because after that, that's when, like, literally, we were in the space when they were going through the contact addresses and the sniping and all that, and we were live in the space when the announcement came out that it was gonna be postponed. So that's just like it was very surprising for me, especially me because I don't really know too many things about this technicalities. Even when it came to borrowing the NFT from Hayden, he literally had to like hold my hand and walk me through it because I didn't want to like not only lose my collateral but lose somebody else's NFT, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's yeah, so the fact that the community is like really aware, like that was very surprising for me as far as the Lion token and how I was live in there when it was like they were talking about all that and they were all of a sudden it just got postponed. So maybe it was some sort of security risk that they saw coming.
Yeah, you kind of wonder, right? Um, Maybe they were worried about these people that were going to try and bot snipe it, but I don't know. The way I look at it, and at least from my understanding of how they're planning on distributing it, it seems like most of it will be, well, part of it's going to be held off, right, for rewards and stuff like that, staking rewards and blah blah blah. But it seemed like a good amount of it's being airdropped to owners of the NFT collections, right? So as to how much is actually going to be available for these snipers, if you want to call them that, right, to purchase Lion token before any of the general public really gets an understanding of it. I don't know if there's going to be that much of an opportunity. There's going to be an opportunity for people selling it to them, right? But and whatever the liquidity pairing comes out to be, but and that's I remember there was a space that we were in. I don't know if you were in it at that point or not, but there was a one guy came up and he was asking us about our thoughts around Lion token, right? And I basically just said like, you know, to me, I don't really care where the price action or anything goes with it, right? Personally, this is a free airdrop. I'm getting free Lion tokens. And the last thing I want to do is sell a bunch of these utility tokens off at cheap and then have to buy them later on to be able to meet staking tier requirements, right? I'm just going to keep probably whatever I get and stake it. Especially because if there's going to be an in-game boosting benefit for the amount of like staking that you or staking tokens that you have, right? And you meet certain criteria on the tier list. That like in my mind, what if it comes out and the benefits of staking this token ends up boosting your land's diamond production, right? So now I get an extra 10% boost on my diamond production because of the amount of lion token I staked, and all that lion token came for free anyways. Like to me, booyah, that's awesome. Like I am 100% going to stake it and reap those benefits in game, right?
Yeah, and yeah, that's true. My way of seeing it, it's I kind of compare it a little bit to Bara, right? And there's similarities and differences. So Bara, maybe it was like a test for them, whatever. Like, um, I got airdrop like $100 of Bara, and I was like, oh wow, like literally for nothing, like. And then I staked them, and when I unstake, it was worth like half, so it was only like $50. But again, like you said, it's free tokens, so why should I complain? Actually, throughout the staking process, I kept getting like bar, you get the bar rewards or whatever, so
Yep.
they were pretty good because the price was pretty good. So I actually used those rewards to buy NFTs and to like move things around, buy some crypto. Um, but when it comes to the Lion token, I believe it's a lot different because, like you said, um, there's going to be extra benefits for the game. And not only that, this is like Loaded Lion's main project. So it's kind of like main city. Like they Loaded Lions and Crypto.com, it's not going to let it die no matter what. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm not selling any Lion token. Like you said, it's free and it's more of a benefit maybe for the game. If it does good, great. If it doesn't, whatever. Um, I know that people do get like financially attached to these things because that's what they're in it for, and no, that's you. Everybody has a different again strategy and gameplay. Um, but yeah, I totally agree with you that I'd rather stake it for in-game benefits.
Yeah, I mean, at least until we see where it goes. I mean, personally, the last thing I want to do is sell a token right away and then see massive price gain. And then it's like, cool, I could have been sitting on way better profits. Instead, I paper handed like a little biatch. And, no, but, it is what it is. But, I
Yeah.
mean, even just to go back to the roadmap, right? Like in regards to the gaming innovation, right? There's some really interesting stuff that they've listed. And I don't know if you had a chance to read through their white paper or not, but one of the things that gets me pretty excited, and they have it listed here for Q1, Q2, is AI NPCs. So they're going to have a prototype of these AI PC or NPCs in game, and that sort of gets me excited, thinking to like the comments and feedback that Papa's given about quests, right? Because that's another thing that they list on here. These quests and exploration options coming in Q3 and Q4. So that would be sort of what I think these AI NPCs are going to do. You can interact with them. They're going to give you quests based on what you're doing, and yeah, it seems like they're going to actually be building more of a world, right?
Yeah, and I like the AIs also because that means interaction, right? So I'm tired of these cubs that they don't talk to me.
Yeah. Well, one of the cool things in their white paper is that
Uh-huh.
they will be eventually making AI and like an AI version of our lion, right? So whatever
Oh,
lion you use, you'll actually be able to interact with them, talk with them. They basically say like we want you to become friends with your lion, right? So your lion's going to be in game, it's going to have a personality and whatnot, and you can go and you can interact with your lion, right? Now whether they build the personality based off of like what you say, right? Like hey, I want my lion to sort of be like this or that or whatever, right? But
hmm
that really, when I read that in the white paper, I was like, that's going to be really cool. Being able to like, and I'm thinking in the future where we're able to go and visit, Like I could go and visit DJ Oracle's mansion, and there's DJ Oracle's Dark Lion that I can interact with and chat with them. Maybe sit down and we play a racing game together. I play in the games room, right? There's the little racing pods. We could go and I could race against your lion, see if I can beat him or whatever, right? Um,
Yeah.
so it's a
Yeah, that
lot,
sounds like a lot of fun.
yeah, lots of potential, I think, and then they've got these guilds and, even the quest stuff coming out. I'm pretty excited for that. The mobile beta, like that's going to be huge. And then we get the competition World Series 3. That's supposed to be coming at the end of this year. At least that's what they said. Chances are it'll be delayed. I mean, that's the typical track record, right? But we'll see when it comes out.
Soon.
Yeah, exactly. Coming soon.
That's the favorite word in the Discord. Soon.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be released soon. We'll have more information soon. But hey, I mean, that's all they can say, right? They can't give away
True.
information earlier than what needs to be released.
Yeah, you can't blame the CMs.
No, no, exactly. But then even there's little perks and stuff that you can see here under the Lion economy, right? Like
Mm.
there's going to be potential, at least from what I'm seeing on this map, that we could also use Lion token in lieu of Crow coin possibly to stake for some of the visas, like the visa cards, or maybe it makes up part of your contribution reward or like your staking requirements to be able to get like icy white or whatever you're going for, right? So that's kind of cool, I think. And they'll have a DAO. Yeah, I don't know. To me, there's I think a lot of potential. This is going to be a utility coin, as part of the actual economy for the loaded lions, right? So it's not going to be just another meme token that, these people that are ready to snipe it and speculate on it, right? To me, it's for the community, and that's why I'm excited that a lot of it's going to be distributed to community members.
Yeah, and I think the key word that you said is utility. Like if there's something more than just a balance in in your wallet, you're more likely to hang on to it and even maybe acquire some more, which of course will raise the price, bring the price up. So yeah, I definitely like the utility of it. Where, like you said, a credit card. Um, so that means that Crypto.com is actually gonna, or Lord Alliance is actually gonna, um, really make an effort for it to not fail and actually make the effort to thrive.
100%. No, exactly. And then you know, even within the gaming innovation, right? So in 2026, 2027, they've got listed here that there's going to be new games, and new NFT collections. So I do like that they do list new NFT collections here under the 2026, 2027. So to me, that's sort of solidifying that there is unlikely to be any more main city NFT collections coming out at least this year. So there's not going to be, personally, I don't think there's going to be second frontier land, right? I don't think they're bringing out dark lands or anything weird like that, right? Like I think the lands that we have for the game are the lands we have for the game. um, so
Yeah, Second Frontier. I wouldn't like Second Frontier.
no, no, especially because it's like, these lands are supposed to be used in all of the upcoming web3 gaming innovations that crypto.com is doing, right? So for them to then dilute the lands and produce more when there's not even another game yet, and arguably there's not even, well, right now there's not even enough players to own one of each land, right? Like we're at like what, maybe 1,500 players actually. We're very competitive within, World Series 2. Let's even just round up and say there's 2,000 players, right? And there's
Mhm.
25,000 lands, right? So everybody can have 11 lands and there's no problem.
Yeah, yeah, that's true, and especially like it's the first frontier, but how much of a frontier can you get after you discover a blockchain, right? Like It's they better not say like, "Oh, you went across the pond and now there's a whole new continent that hadn't been discovered, the Americas." Like that's a bad example or funny example, I should
Hmm.
say.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What's the new world in this first frontier? But
Yeah, but I do like that they say like expanding of the or world map, right? Something like that.
yeah, and that's where, but they call it world expansion, and that's part of Q1, Q2 on the map here, under gaming innovation. And to me, I'm hoping that's going to be the world map. That I'm really want to see, right? Like we've all got our own little lands that we're sort of working on and building cities on, but eventually they all got to like sort of connect up somehow and make one larger actual city, right? Or maybe
Yeah.
multiple little lands, right? I had the idea of maybe there's like three or four volcanic islands that are sort of formed, and in the middle of each volcano is your blockchains, right? So you break up all your blockchains into like four or five major land masses, and then around them would be your molten caverns that sort of go into your, you know, um, probably into the auroras coming out of that, and then into like around the ocean where it's actually your lagoons and stuff like that. Then there'd be some desert sections sort of populating each part of the map, and they'd all connect up to be like one big, world map with water and stuff like that. And heck, maybe the next collection is going
Yeah.
to be some boats so we can sail around.
Hey, there you go. I'll buy some boats or some cars to go on the freeways in between lands.
Right?
Um,
Yeah,
so
there we
yeah,
go. The exploration vehicles.
there you go. Yeah,
Right?
do you wanna
Get your
an
private
adventure
jet,
car?
helicopters,
You want a
private jets.
hoopty?
You got your
Whatever you
yacht.
afford,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah. Get the mythical yacht so I could sail around.
Yeah, I have a lot of dunes, so you're gonna see me on a bike on a motorbike.
No, no, no. You'll have one of those little like dune carts or whatever, the like that car, they like the dune buggies,
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
right?
yeah. Or I'll just hop on the back of the Cubs, the Cubs van.
Hey, we already got ATVs, right? There's some ATVs in the hangar.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
So let me go rip around in that little red Ferrari, or what is it? There
yeah.
was the race car, or whatever. There was a race car. There's
There's the race car.
the
There's the
Lambo,
Ferrari.
the yellow Lambo or
Um,
whatever.
there's motorbike. I think there's like a dirt bike too.
Yep. Yeah, and there's that
Mm.
classic car. Kind of looks like a Cadillac, like from the 50s,
Oh
late.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah. Actually, I think that's one of my. Actually, besides the hangar, the Oasis, it's also a really nice room
yeah, with the
to
big
set
water
up.
slides and stuff, they're pretty fun. The pools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the AI agents is pretty cool, pretty nice expectation. World expansion, pretty exciting. I think that they did some pretty good things on the roadmap, but I mean, long term things can change or whatever. I'm just very happy with what they say for Q1 and Q2, and I'm just waiting for those things to be implemented so we can make more videos, so we can have more engagement with the new things that come up in the game, and I think it just ignites more passion for the game as the game moves along.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I completely agree. And there's some other, maybe we'll just touch on them quick here. Some other minor items, like these in IRL meetups and stuff like that. Whether it's annual, I think they list one as like an annual sort of like Lion Summit, but that's more like close to the Q or the 2028 stuff. But even then, you've got stuff like the ambassadors and the creators programs and stuff like that. This Lion University thing, that's kind of going to be. I'm kind of excited by that. See what they teach us.
Right? Yeah, maybe they'll make us interns.
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the dream, right? We'll have a DJ Oracle and an RWINK7 NPC in there for people to go and interact with, whether it's in our mansions or what, who knows? But that'd be kind of cool.
Definitely would be kind of cool. So it is pretty exciting, the roadmap. I mean, it's better than not knowing anything, any information about where the game is going, right?
Exactly. No, I completely agree. It's it's shocked me, to be honest. I didn't think that they had this much detail ready for the community to digest. So I was happy. Getting to read through the white paper made me even more excited for some of the stuff coming out. So let's go 2025. It's going to be an
It
exciting year
is.
for the project.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Right on. So yeah, other than that, then let's just do a little bit of speculation on what you think's going to happen with season three, the Fractured Fate world or season, as they're calling it. So you know, Void One.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
big
So season
pivot.
three should be kind of like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, no. Continue.
No, I was gonna say. So season three should be just like what they introduce. That's not necessarily competitions. I mean, of course, competitions is part of it, but I think when it comes to like season three, it just kind of means like incorporation of the monk businesses for once, right? That's been pretty much already announced and not being delivered on.
Yep.
Um, so I hope they do those pretty soon. And so yeah, I think that was about the only thing that they had that they had us kind of like expecting before the roadmap,
Yes,
the
yeah, that
monk
was the
businesses.
only thing that I knew about prior to this roadmap coming out is that the
Mhm.
monk's business skin being brought into the game and whatever it actually is going to entail. However it's going to be implemented, I'm not too sure exactly, but I think that's going to be a big moment for it. And with the name Fractured Fate, yeah, I think it's going to be building a lot on what just happened in the World War, or this Great War that we just fought in, as well as the other partnerships, right? So I think there's going to be some world building narratives, and maybe coming into the AI quest giving, right? That might be stuff that's based around depending on what faction you're a part of. Maybe you're going to get some like different types of quests and missions and stuff to participate in helping build this world. Um, there's also the one big thing that I want to call out, that being Legion technically only has one partnership, whereas Void has two. So it'll be
Mm.
interesting to see if there's a purely DeFi project similar to like what we saw with Mary, that's going to get onboarded as a Legion member or partner.
Yeah, no, definitely that's much needed to balance things out. And not only that, I'm pretty sure they will because every time they do a new partnership, either we already had the NFTs, and if we don't or if we didn't, then we're gonna go after them. So yeah, that's a very good speculation on what the next partnership is because it has to be balanced since, like you said, there's already two partnerships on the void. So it'll be interesting. Me personally, like I really like the Brave project. They had really nice NFTs. So I would really hope that the Brave project would probably get incorporated. I mean, they come out with NFTs pretty often, but hopefully they'll just do one specifically for the game.
Yeah, and I think that's the hard part about these types of projects getting into main city, right? It's like which collection gets pulled in. With Mary, it was basically just their only collection, but with both Monks and Crazy Monsters, they produced a collection that is like a Gen 2 collection specifically used for the game, right? So, if Brave were to come in, what are they doing? Are they releasing a brand new collection like Main City Warriors or something like that? You know, for just the game, and then how does that also interact overall with their project? So I think any partnership coming in is going to probably be releasing a brand new NFT collection, unless they're already an established collection on DeFi.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. But again, this is the part of the speculation, which is pretty fun.
Yeah. Hey, one thing that I think would be really cool is if, because there's been so many mints on crypto.com's platform. It would just kind of be nice too if some of them just got like soft benefits, right? Like there's one collection that I minted. It was the Goons collection, and they were all based on like reject NHL hockey player basically, right? Like they're like the beer league of the hockey world, and that's what there's they're pretty funny little NFTs. But anyways, as I digress here, what I'm trying to get to is that it'd be kind of cool if if you had one of them, if they did like a boost to your LL Sports, right? Especially if you had, like myself, I've got a hockey rink on one of my LL Sports. So it'd be kind of cool if, like, hey, if you had one of them, they would boost that business's gold generation.
Yeah, that would be nice. Get the partnership with some soccer teams, and put
Hey, we already
those
got
LS
the
scores that have a soccer. Uh-huh.
League of Lions or whatever it is,
Oh, there you go.
right? They did a
That's
whole
pretty good.
soccer or football, whatever you want to call it, right? They did a whole collection for that already, right? When they did the World Cup, I think it was, right? So that would be cool to
Oh,
see them, right? Like imagine like they get imported in and I mean future speculation here, right? This is what this section's about anyways, but how cool would it
that's
be is
right.
if like you could click on your LL Sports and you could go in there and just watch a simulated game, right? Kind of like I don't know if you've ever done that on like on Xbox or PlayStation or whatever, where they have like the sports games, and you could literally just like simulate a game, and it just kind of plays, and you watch the people like the both teams go at it like it's a real game. So it'd be kind of funny if you could do something
Wow.
like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, all the sports, right? And the the records. It'll be cool if you could go in there and actually listen to some music, maybe discover new musicians in the Crow fam
Yeah,
ecosystem.
yeah. If they had like an NFT collection where it gives you access to their discography or something like that, that'd be cool.
You know what? Speaking of NFTs that we got a long time ago, I actually have an NFT from Death Row Records, and I just got it because I love the artist from Death
Hmm.
Row Records, and so it'll be cool if I'll be able to like use that. Like, dude, that's such an OG. Like, it was pretty much like when NFTs were really. I mean, 2020, right? When the crypto world was being discovered.
Hmm.
So it was like really cool, and it's an official, supposed to be like an official NFT, but yet it has like no utility. Like we're talking about utility, it's just a cool NFT, which again, it's a cool NFT. But how cool would it be if projects like that were kind of like official, that were kind of like official with crypto.com? They can go back and incorporate those. I mean, imagine how much the floor price will go up on those projects.
Well, and that's the big thing, right? Like there were so many projects that were released on the crypto.com mint platform, right? And it's they just some of them failed, you know, the projects just didn't get taken off or anything like that. So it'd just be kind of cool to see them be like, hey, here's a little bit of added utility or just a little bit of utility to begin with, really. Even just bring them into the game, right? And it's like, hey, you can I mean, some of them might just be like it's just a one and done. There's no, decay or there's no diminishing factors on the percentages. It's just like if you own one, it does this. If you don't own one, well, it doesn't really matter, right? It's just like a small little benefit.
Yeah, whether you own one or 100, you only get the benefit for one.
Yeah, exactly. Just something to make it so that all of these collections that people were minting that are partnered and minted through, as like a verified or what do they call it? There's something. There's another word that they use on the platform to get that little blue check mark, right? But
Oh, okay, curated? Is it
yeah,
curated?
the curated. That's what. So like all the curated collections that they had been selling NFTs through their platform on, where it's like you could just put them as a small little benefit in game. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't even need to be a void or legion aligned project, right? It's just like, hey, here's a I don't know. There was one that I these weird people, right? It was one that what I just recently minted, or even the what is it? The Ravengers, those Insha, I think is how it's pronounced or something. They're on mint right now, right? They're being minted on the platform, right? Like they could be something that's also brought into the game as just like an added small benefit, right? Of like, hey, okay, you got one of these, it does this, right? And it's not aligned with
Yeah.
Void or Legion, but it gives your, I don't know, your Pride records this little boost, right? And it just would provide more incentive for people to have a wider variety of businesses in game as well. If there's NFTs that just boost those businesses and that's all they do, right?
Yeah, that's a good point too, so that they can make sure that nobody's just everybody's maps is not full of cool cats.
Hey, nothing wrong with those cool cat farms, I guess.
I guess not. If you just like to have little events here and there
That's
in
it.
your little cool cat instead of a pride record or an LL sport or go to the arcade and have some big fun. But no, I know what you mean. Every business has its place in the game. And I mean, hey, those cool cats got those players to Division 1, right?
Oh, exactly. Right. But I mean, even that's another thing that comes out on that roadmap, right? Is and specific to main city being the business combos, right? So hopefully we see that in the next couple months come out, make it more incentivized to have a variety of businesses rather than yeah just running your same old cool cats dens.
Yeah. You said that's in Q1,
Um,
so it should be coming up soon, right? Like Q1
what's
is what, like up to March, like the first 3 months kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. The first 3 months, and then Q2 would be your next three. I don't know
Yeah,
exactly when it was supposed to be released. Yes, it
it's
doesn't
all
say
good.
specifically on this roadmap picture, but I know that there was talk on it. I think maybe it was more detailed in the white paper. So yeah, if you haven't had a chance to read that, definitely go check it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotta. Maybe we can put the links down when you know on the video to the white paper and like some of the resources that we're talking about.
Yeah, and I'll even put a link to the most recent article that Bitcoin Glitch wrote on his website. So I'll try to put all that stuff down in the links below. That way everybody's got access to it as normal.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. So that's good speculations about the game. We'll see what actually
Yeah,
goes down.
right. Yeah, exactly. See how it all ends up coming to fruition. But no, I think there's lots of exciting things coming for Main City over the next year. And, speculating out from there, the whole Lion project, I think will have some really cool stuff coming out leading up into the 2030 sort of end of the roadmap that they've produced. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm not planning on selling, so I'm just gonna hold and see where these assets take me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm not much of a seller either, and so yeah, I'm pretty excited for anybody who it's not in main city yet. It's pretty fun. You can ask any of the new players around. If you're not on there, yeah, definitely get on the app and start moving things around, clicking things around, read the playbook, and trust me, a lot of people who get frustrated at times and say they're gonna leave the game, they don't leave the game. So that should say something to all the new players or even the Lions that haven't started playing. Yeah, definitely give it a try.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say too, right? This is a time in the game, right? Sort of aspect. So every day kind of counts when it comes to building your city. So the sooner you get into the game, start playing, even if you're not super active, even just to be collecting your diamonds for later on when you can start being active, and purchasing your arid lands and things like that. There's those small little benefits that are going to go a long way when it does come to the next competition. So, get in there as quick as possible and yeah, just start playing and start learning how the game works.
Yeah, and it's a great point. Even if you just log in and start collecting diamonds, trust me, once you start putting some businesses down and start playing around, you'll 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 get beaten by the bug.
Yeah, yeah, and start putting furniture down and yeah, it's a addiction. It's fun. Right
Yeah,
on.
it's a healthy addiction because it gives you money in the competitions mode or it gives you NFTs. So it's good for fun. Not only you can also utilize your loaded lions and your a lot of some of your NFTs you can actually put them to use in the game.
That's the big thing, right? Let's bring some utility to some of these NFTs. So you got any other
Yep, yep.
speculation you wanted to talk about? Maybe Fractured Fates. I mean,
Um,
it's not the most telling name, so who knows where it's
yeah,
going.
right. Yeah, it's hard to speculate on the word fate. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
um, yeah, I really don't. Ah, okay. So I would only the only thing that really comes to mind is to say that um maybe the road is gonna get more on a fork road where it'll be maybe make a little bit more of a difference what faction you're in, maybe. I'm not sure. That's what comes to mind.
yeah. That's sort of where I was alluding to with the different factions and possibly different quests, right? So being part of Void, you'll have you know missions where you're helping dismantle the Legion city, and maybe the Legion's quests will be more focused on building up their city and defending it, and helping out another Legion member with something or whatever, right? So it could be more on the sides of like, do you want to be battling, attacking, and destroying? Go with the Void. Do you want to be building and being more cooperative in your play style, trying to help out players around you? And maybe that would be the Legion, and that's how they're gonna fracture these fates.
That's a good speculation. That's a very good speculation.
Yeah, that's all we could do at this point, right?
Yep, yep.
Right on. So, I mean, we're coming up on the 2 hours here. It's always an hour show. So, I think, I mean, other than that, I think we've covered pretty much everything we wanted to discuss today, So, yeah, I mean, if you've made it to this point, thank you very much for listening. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and all feedback is welcome. Just don't tell us that it's too long, because I think we always shoot for that hour. And hey, but this is I think a little bit of a milestone one, right? Being right at the end of the competition, and some excitement around Lion tokens. So I think 2 hours is warranted.
Yeah, that's a great point. There was a lot of information to cover in this podcast, so I think 2 hours is pretty fair. As opposed to just like talking about new features or whatever. Like this was really about the last competition, our experience, speculations. Like there was new community members. So I think 2 hours is it's gonna do it justice without us rushing any of the topics. So like you said, shout out to anybody who's still here with us. Go ahead and like, subscribe as always. Go ahead and share. Leave your comments. And yeah, let us know where you placed. And let us know your experience. Um, let us know how you did in the competitions and what you think about the speculations.
Exactly. Yeah, we'd love to hear exactly, if you guys thought you were going to hit a certain rank and didn't quite make it there, or maybe you blew past the rank you thought you were going to hit. And, we'd love to hear a little bit more about the strategy you were using at that point then. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
other than
I
that,
think we did it.
we done did it. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you check out DJ Oracle's channel as well. And follow him on X. And yeah, you'll find all the links down below for the discords, the websites we've been discussing today. So make sure you check them out if you're looking for some more information. And we'll make sure we got the white paper link down there as well. And yeah, again, thank you very much for tuning in, and we will catch you in the next one.
Yes, thank you guys for tuning in. Later.